Hi everyone! So this video is going to be a bit of a different one. This video is a video about 5 of the most essential kitchen tools that I think every home cook or home baker needs to be successful. So if you're wondering what my list for 5 essential kitchen tools are, stay tuned to this video and I'll let you know. So in everybody's kitchen, they have their tools that they love to use the most. And somebody the other day asked me what my most important kitchen items were. What were my most used kitchen items? It was actually a friend who was wanting to get into baking and she wanted to know what she should be purchasing. And I couldn't answer her. I didn't know. I had so many things in my mind that I was like, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. So I did think about it, made a list and got back to her on it. And I thought, what a great video for all of you who are maybe starting out on this and trying to figure out what equipment do you need? What equipment is essential to be a successful home baker or home cook, whether you're homesteading or not. So here's my list. So like I said, I have 5 that are my top and 5 that were my runners up. There couldn't be less. It had to be this many. So number 1, most important tool that I find that I use, and there are things that I just couldn't do in my kitchen without this. So there are things in my kitchen that I just couldn't do without this one tool, or couldn't be replaced with anything else. It's a kitchen thermometer. Now, I know, you might be thinking, everybody has a kitchen thermometer. No, they don't. My sister, you're probably watching this, hi, I love you, borrows my kitchen thermometer all the time because she doesn't have one. And I would recommend a digital kitchen thermometer because they're easy to read. You can get those thermometers that are teeny tiny and you're like, well, I think it's that temperature. Or if you're trying to do anything where you're candying your sugar and you need to know exact, you don't need to have a candy thermometer if you have a digital thermometer. So a digital thermometer, they're inexpensive. I got this one for 20 bucks. I love it. I use it all the time. So kitchen thermometer, number 1, can't be replaced with your finger unless you want to burn it off. I don't recommend it. Number 2, now this is dirty because I was using it. Very sorry, it just recently had bread on it. A kitchen scale. Very, very important. Especially if you're making things like bread. Okay, not vital, but really, really important, and it'll change the way that you make things if you get yourself a kitchen scale so that you can be more accurate with your ingredients. So obviously you have other things like measuring cups, but they're not as accurate as a scale when you're weighing out things like flour, because my cup could be different than your cup. Not that the size of it is different, but the way that I pack it is different. So a kitchen scale is very, very important and very, very useful. And I hugely recommend purchasing one. This is a totally inexpensive kitchen scale. Once again, it was probably around $20. I get most of my stuff from, like, say, Walmart, Canadian Tire, or, well, Amazon, because we don't have a lot of places to shop at around here. So I'm pretty sure this was purchased at Canadian Tire. It's like the only store we have here on the coast that really we can get this sort of thing. Ooh, but this one I did purchase at my local kitchen store. So now here's another one that totally changed a lot of things for me, and there are things that I couldn't do in my kitchen, particularly because of the type of counter I have, without this. Or I could use parchment paper, but I would no, that wouldn't be fun. And this is also dirty because I just made bread on it and haven't washed it, and I don't care. This, so I'll turn it around. It's called a smart baking mat, or at least that's what it says on it. This thing is awesome. I can see that you can't, well, whatever. You can see it well enough, I hope. It is just a silicone baking mat, and this particular one has rings on it for if you're making pies, which I do quite often, and I've used it and I love it. I use it, the rings, for other things too. So I use this baking mat to roll out all my bread. I use it for making pies. I use it for making my pasta. I use it for when I make cookies and I have to roll them out. I use this thing all the time. I absolutely love this mat. So, and before I had this mat, there were things that I just couldn't do because we have, you can see, we have tiles. We have tiled counters. And to me, this is not sanitary. I can clean this as much as I want. It just doesn't work. So I needed to have a mat like this. So for me, this is an essential tool for me to have, and I absolutely love it. Okay, what number are we on, you guys? That was 1. This was 2. This was 3. So we're on to number 4. So I was like torn between what 4 should be, because I have 2 other really important things, or that I think are important things. I was like, what should be next? So this is what's next. Sharp, good quality knives. Very important. A sharpener, or a way to sharpen your knives, the knowledge to sharpen your knives, or somebody close to you who can sharpen your knives, or somewhere around you that your knives can get sharpened. That's really important. That's all I'm going to say about that. Good quality, sharp knives are very important. And the ability to sharpen them is also very important. I'm not going to go into too much depth. That one pretty much explains itself. Okay, because I want to move on to number 5, because I actually am more excited about number 5 than I am about number 4. Cast iron. This is my cast iron. I have lots of other cast iron. Any true homesteader will have cast iron. Multiple cast iron frying pans and pots and griddles and you name it. Bread pans. I would love to get some cast iron bread pans. They're so expensive. Christmas. This was a Christmas gift. This brand is Lodge. And we got this from Capital Iron on Vancouver Island. My husband got it for me. And we chose these 2 because this is the base, and these are heavy, so I'm weightlifting right now. This is the lid. This is one frying pan, and this is another frying pan, and this acts as the lid. Cast iron is amazing. I never used to use cast iron. I thought it was just like way too difficult. I thought it was a pain in the butt. I thought stuff stuck to it because I didn't know how to care for it. I'll do a whole video about caring for your pots and pans and cast iron and your cookie sheets and everything, because you really care for it all the same way as you would your cast iron. But hugely recommend going out and purchasing some good quality cast iron. I actually have, I didn't bring it out here, but I have another, like, it's kind of square. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go get it. Okay, the reason why I wanted to get this and bring it to you is because I actually didn't buy this. I sometimes work at a resort and they were getting rid of a bunch of stuff and this was there. And I'm like, oh, that's a really nice, really well seasoned cast iron pan. Oh, I want that. I really like it. I don't know if you can read this. It's from IKEA. So I never would have purchased this from IKEA because I don't like cast iron. They pre-season things. I don't know how great it is for you, so I always steer away from that. So I wanted to get my cast iron from a good resource. Anyways, long story short, I got this cast iron from IKEA. It's awesome. It's like so non-stick. I do all of my pancakes, eggs, like you'd be shocked. Anyways, cast iron. Can you tell I'm excited about cast iron? I don't know. But I love my cast iron pans. They're really, really important. So I would hugely, hugely recommend. You can do bread. Here we go, back onto the cast iron. You can rate, like, you know, I'm gonna do a video on some sourdough and doing a sourdough bread, because I bake that completely differently than I would bake any of my other breads. And so you use this as like your, oh, what kind of pot is it called, which I don't have one of. Well, I can't think of it right now and I'm not even gonna bother. So you bake your bread in here and you put the lid on top and then you get a really good air on it and stuff. So that's another reason why I really like this setup, is because I can bake a really good loaf of bread in there. Okay, so that was my 5 really important things that if you're just starting out, I would hugely recommend going out and purchasing all of those things. Maybe not all of them. To me, cast iron is just, it's so important. Having even just like one cast iron frying pan. Do it. Go buy some. It's really good for you. It's also good for your iron, right? Because cast iron, you ingest some of that iron, so it's really good for you. Okay. And so now I'm going to go over my, yeah, I've got lots of time left on my video. So now I'm going to go over my 5 runners up for things that, now these in my eyes, some of them were things that most people probably already have in their kitchen. So you don't really need to be told, but I thought I would go over them anyways. Obviously, measuring things, measuring cups, measuring spoons, glass measuring cups. I mean, these are kind of a given, but these are really important to have. A whisk. I actually wish I had a bigger whisk. I have this one and I have a smaller one, which I use all the time. I grew up in a household where we never had a whisk. Just never used one. Use a fork, right? You can use a fork, of course. But a whisk is also really, really important. Not vital, because it can hugely be replaced. Animal fight in the background. So a whisk. This is another, I just used this to make bread, so it's dirty. I'll say that about all the things that I just used to make bread that are dirty. It's not dirty, it needs to be rinsed off. This little guy I absolutely love. So if you're gonna be a bread maker, I recommend this hugely. I didn't have these for the longest time. And when I ordered this, I was so happy. It's great for scraping out your bowls, but you can use it for more than just bread making. It's just a really, really handy tool. So I'm not actually even sure what this thing is called. A scraper? We'll call it a scraper. It's a kitchen scraper or something like that. And I got this particular one from Amazon. And then the other things here, I couldn't tell you where I got them from because I've had them for so many years. So that's 1. The measuring things. This is 2. These guys here are all 3. So these are silicone baking things. These are obviously loaf pans, mini loaf pans. I use these all the time and absolutely love them. This one looks all shiny and new because it actually is brand new. I haven't even used that one yet, but this one I've used a lot, and I found that I needed more. So I bought another one, so now I have 2 of them. Love them. These are great for making like little mini brownies and that, and little mini muffins. And this is a silicone mat, like cookie sheet, saves on your parchment paper and all that sort of thing. So just silicone, and I mean, I could go on. I have silicone spatulas and all that. So I'm going to group all of that together as being something that I find really useful in the kitchen is silicone, lots of different things. Silicone, baking things, sheets to bake on, silicone spatulas and all that sort of thing. I really love those. So I'm grouping that all together as one. And then I have one very, very last thing that I know some people are like, well, I can't afford that. And that's the way I was. I couldn't afford it. But then we saved up for it and then I could afford it and I love it. And I don't know how I baked and did anything before I had this. Obviously you can see it in the background, so you know what I'm talking about. This is a Cuisinart KitchenAid. No, it's not a KitchenAid. This is a Cuisinart stand mixer. Now, it's a Cuisinart. It's less expensive than a KitchenAid. And I got this from Costco. It was $200. My eyes, totally affordable, totally worth it. I use this thing when I'm at the height of my season. So for probably 8 months out of the year, I use this thing multiple times a day, every single day. It's a workhorse. I love it. I make my bread with it. I make all of my cookies with it. I make my pie crust with it. I make my pasta with it. I have, because I just got a pasta attachment for it last year, and I want to get like a meat grinding attachment and any other attachment I can get for it because I absolutely love this. If somebody wants to get you a gift and they're like, what can I get you? Tell them you want one of these if you're big into baking and you don't have one. I hugely recommend having one. They're they just make life so much easier. So they're worth their weight in gold. There we go. So those are my 5 kitchen gadgets, kitchen tools, kitchen equipment that I couldn't do without, that I think that are really vital to a good, strong working kitchen, and 5 of my runners-up that I would recommend purchasing if you're looking for some new things for your kitchen. So I hope that this video has been helpful, and I hope that it has encouraged you to run out and buy all of these things so that you can start baking like a crazy person. Baking and cooking, and I say baking and cooking because baking is more sweets and treats and cooking is more like savory dishes in my eyes. That's why I'm grouping them as 2 different things. So thank you very much for joining me here on the farm today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!